Tupac has been spotted out in public.
Headlines over the past 24 hours after he claimed on Instagram that Tupac was still alive and living in Malaysia.
Do you want to win any of these items on your screen? If so, be sure to watch the whole video, leave a like, and comment the hidden message. And with that being said, let's get right into the video. If you were to make a list of rappers who may just be the greatest of all time, you'd have to list Tupac Shakur among the greatest. So much so that his tragic passing in 1996 rocked the rap world. And the rapper continues to be an influence on many new age rappers to this day. But despite his passing, many still think that he's alive. But why is that? Well, be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Number 7. The early life of Tupac Shakur.
Okay, my name is Tupac Shakur, and I attend Tamalpais High School. And I'm 17 years old.
Regardless of where you are on this whole stand-up Tupac is alive conversation, there's no doubt that when he was alive, he was a presence to be felt. And at his time, both as a man and as a rapper, he's been chronicled many times over the years. So before diving into the reasons many people think he's still alive, we need to discuss why people feel he was one of the best ever.
We'd all like to officially welcome Tupac Shakur into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Despite being known for his love of the West Coast, specifically California, Tupac Shakur was actually born in New York City in 1971. What's more, his birthday was actually Lazan Paris Crux. Quite a ways from Tupac, don't you think? Anyway, his parents actually changed his name to Tupac Amaru II, which was a name derived from a Peruvian revolutionary, believe it or not. His parents were big influences in his life, even before he was born, as both his parents were part of the Black Panther Party, and each had been charged and acquitted for various crimes over the years. And just as important, many of the people that Tupac knew were part of the Black Liberation Army, a group fighting for equal rights for African Americans. So you could say he was raised to try and break the status quo of the world. Eventually, Tupac went on his first of many moves, the first of which was to Baltimore, Maryland. It was there that Tupac started to learn about music and poetry and became quite enamored with it. He even took up acting while he was there in high school. When he started to put his talent towards rapping with his friends, he actually won a lot of awards and competitions. But what might be the most interesting thing is that despite his soon-to-be controversial nature, Tupac was well-liked by just about everyone at his school. He was touted as being funny, kind, talented, and able to mix with all groups, including being good friends with the future wife of Will Smith, Jada Pinkett, who Tupac noted many times was his friend for life. Eventually, his family moved to Marin City, California, which was only a few miles away from San Francisco. He finished high school there and continued to love both music and poetry, even writing once, "Our raps, not the sorry story raps everybody's so tired of. They're about what happens in the real world. Our goal is to have people relate to our raps, make it easy to see what really is happening out there. Even more important, what we may do to better our world." A foreshadowing of things to come. Number 6. Rise in rap.
From East Coast, West Coast, we got beef with the people we got beef with, but we could go anywhere in the country because we are America's most wanted.
Despite what some people think, Tupac's fame in rap didn't come right away. He actually started rapping back in 1988, but it wasn't until a few years later that he got his first big break by signing with the group Digital Underground, a group that made not only just music, but also did movies as well as including the 1991 film Nothing But Trouble, which Tupac was also in, as a small part. Those acting lessons paid off well, as you can see. After working with them for a while, Tupac went out and did his own album, Tupacalypse Now. On one hand, the film didn't get a lot of sales, nor were any songs of it hits in terms of chart hitters. However, because of the style and the underground vibe that Tupacalypse Now had, and it portrayed, many rappers were inspired by it, including the future legends like Eminem and Nas, who cited it in talking about their early works.
The thing that Tupac did was he set a standard. Like, the average fan who's listening to music is like, if you don't make me care about your life, I'm not gonna care about you.
Ironically enough, the rights to the album are now with Tupac's mother, who now owns her own record label in Amaru Entertainment. But what might be the biggest impact of that first album, though, was that Tupac went and used his songs to try and show off the social injustice going on in the United States at the time, especially in California, which would be the fuel for the legendary rap group NWA. It got so much controversy that even Vice President of the United States at the time, Dan Quayle, spoke out on it, saying that an album like this shouldn't be released. Oh, Quayle, if only you knew. Tupac didn't hold back, though. At the criticism thrown his way, he noted that he was just singing about what he had been through and seen. "I started out saying I was down for the young black male, you know, and it was gonna be my thing," Shakur said. "I just wanted to rap about things that affected young black males. When I said that, I didn't know I was gonna tie myself down just to take all the blunts and hits for all the young black males, to be the media's kicking post for the young black males. I just figured since I lived that life, I could do that. I could rap about that." No matter the results of the first album, Tupac had all the fuel he needed for his next album, which came out in 1993, and it proved that he was there to stay, even having his album debut at number 24 on the Billboard Top 200. Many rap historians even say that this was the album that helped Tupac break out into the mainstream media and start to become the legend that everyone knew. Number 5. The Legend of Tupac.
One of music's most prolific and outspoken artists, as he's rightfully enshrined amongst the greatest musicians to ever do it.
With his fame in hand, Tupac branched out and actually started a group called Thug Life. where they did gangsta rap, a rap that was even more vocal, even more hardcore, and even more unapologetic, to the extent that many of the songs had to be re-recorded at the request of Interscope Records, their label at the time, because they were too controversial. And though as a group they released only one album, it did go gold, which isn't too bad. It had many songs that are still considered hits today. But for Tupac, he was still only getting started with his third album, Me Against the World. It's widely considered not only one of his best compilations ever, but also one of the most influential hip-hop albums of all time. The album won many awards and has sold over 3 million units in its lifetime. Add to that many singles that went on to the Billboard Top 100 charts, and you can see why many people liked it. His fourth album was All Eyes on Me, and this was his best album in terms of sales and recognition yet. It was 9 times platinum. It had 2 #1 songs known as How Do You Want It and California Love. The album sold over 5 million copies before the 90s was even over, and by that time Tupac Shakur was a mainstream name in rap, and many people considered him a legend. His final album that would release during his life was a bit of an odd one, as it was the 7 Day Theory. He had released it under a new name, Machiavelli. The intent of the record was, according to those who knew him, was that it was meant to be solely an underground record, not one to be released with many distributions. But anyway, it was a big hit, and by 1999, it was 4 times platinum. Many people noted the raw power and emotion that Tupac exerted in the songs of the album. Sadly, that was the end of his releases, because in 1996, his life was taken from him. Or was it? Number 4. The conspiracies around Tupac.
Some my mistake, some destiny, some fate, and some unwarranted, you know what I mean?
Talking about the passing of Tupac Shakur is actually a bit tricky, mainly because though the loss of his life was in such a dramatic, brutal fashion, it has been documented many times and even shown off in videos and documentaries about his life. There are many people who actually think that he's still alive. What's more, the conspiracies about his life are almost as numerous as the tracks he's made, and there are many people in the world today who have claimed to have been a part of the plot to keep him alive and make people think that he was really gone, or have claimed to see him alive in other parts of the world. Yeah, it's weird, and if you think about it, but it's clear that they believe in it, and that's what matters. So let us show you off some of the most popular Tupac is alive conspiracy theories. Number 3. Tupac is in Cuba with family. If Tupac is still alive, then the obvious question here is, where did he go? To be in the United States, that would be too dangerous, right? A lot of people knew him, and this was before the rise of the internet and smartphones, where you can look up at just about anyone at a blink of an eye, so obviously, he would have to go out of the country, right? But to where? Well, one of Tupac's friends, a rapper named Treach, was asked about where Tupac was and whether he was really gone. Treach answered the question without blinking an eye. The last time I saw him, he was in Cuba, man. Treach said this in 2010, almost 15 years after Tupac's passing. So why would he just say that? And just as important, why would he say that without hesitation? Is it because he knew something that we didn't? Sure, a lot of people say they'll flee to Cuba one day, but why would Tupac take that step? Well, that's something that's actually hard evidence. You see, Tupac had an aunt named Assata Shakur. She was part of the Black Liberation Army, which I noted later was a big influence in his family and life, and was charged with a felony. But her BLA members broke her out of jail and smuggled her into Cuba, where she is now under the law of political asylum, which means the United States can't extradite her back into the country. She's been there since 1984, 12 years before her nephew's passing. So if Tupac wanted to get out of the country, there's a good chance that his aunt knew of a way to get him into Cuba without prying eyes, especially if those same eyes were focused on the passing and not a runaway. As a musician would say, it's all about the misdirection. Point the audience one way while you're doing something in the other. The Cuba theory is honestly one of the more persuasive conspiracy theories behind Tupac's passing, mainly because it honestly has evidence behind it. And what's more, there have been testimonies and pictures saying that Tupac is in Cuba. One picture even had him at a bar with singer Rihanna, which proves that more people know that he's alive than we think. If the picture was true, and many think that it isn't, like myself, you ever heard of Photoshop? It's delightful. But again, it's a theory that lives on with each passing year, and if he did flee the country, he would again want to stay somewhere that he felt he could feel safe. Yet also feels that his friends and potential family could go and visit him without being called into question. Cuba certainly qualifies. Number 2. Where was Tupac's body when he was buried?
And he's looking out the window and there's absolutely no expression on his face. I knew. I just hope he wasn't afraid.
The backbone of most of these conspiracy theories is that there is an inconsistency with what happened in a certain scenario, and thus needs to be explored. Such as, well, I don't know, a body not proved to be truly gone? Confused by what I mean? Well, allow me to explain. After Tupac was officially declared gone, the very next day he was cremated. A service was held soon after, and Suge Knight, a close friend of Tupac who was there when his life was taken, paid $3 million to ensure that no one could see Tupac's ashes or be allowed in without an invitation, thus keeping the circle of silence rather complete, if you you would. Now, sure, if you wanted to look at this objectively, you could say that Suge Knight and others didn't want Tupac's funeral to be turned into a media or fan circus, which is fair and understandable, but you see on the report of the cremation, the cremator listed Tupac as being taller and heavier than he actually was. Now, you can't forgive a few inches or two of height, it's all relative, but the difference in weight was 50 pounds, and that's quite a discrepancy. Additionally, after the service, the cremator retired and has never been seen or heard from again. Doesn't that seem a little rather odd to you? Furthermore, there was supposed to be a public viewing of the body that was meant to be used for fans to pay tribute to the singer. It was canceled, so technically, the only people who saw Tupac's body were Suge Knight and the cremator, as well as maybe a certain few hospital staff, depending on how things were handled. So what does that leave us with? It leaves us with a very small set of people seeing Tupac's body in his ashes, to the extent that if you look at it objectively, they only have the proof of him being alive or gone. Adding to that, the situation with the cremator, and you have enough inconsistencies to start a whole plethora of conspiracy theories, and not just one. If the burial was a misdirection, Tupac could be anywhere, or it could just be a series of odd events that are easily explained by grief and loss. Which of course raises one final question. Number 1. Why do people hope that Tupac is still alive? I honestly just barely scratched the surface in regards to conspiracy theories that Tupac has about his life passing, and some really crazy ones in terms of their proof and logic, but why are so many people clinging on to some small hope or crazy logic that Tupac may be alive? And honestly, it's a simple answer. It's that they really, really miss him. Tupac's music impacted a whole generation and inspired many generations of rappers to this day. His music was real. It had weight to it. It was stirring the pot, challenging norms, and getting a bunch of people, including people who don't listen to rap like Dan Quayle, to respond to it in one way or another. Plus, the passing of Tupac was so sudden and tragic, and the answers given to them were so few and incomplete that many hope that it was like a movie or a TV show or even a book, that this wasn't what it appears to be, that there's hope that he's still alive somewhere out there making music. And because these beliefs have been going on for so long, it's doubtful that they'll ever really go away, and so in some respect, Tupac is really alive in the hearts of his fans and those that miss him. And so there you have it, a look at the life and the passing of the legendary rapper Tupac Shakur, as well as the conspiracy theories that people say that prove that he is indeed still alive to this day. And what do you really think of all of this? Is it in your mind that Tupac is gone forever, or is he indeed hiding away somewhere in the world? And if so, where do you think he now resides? Let me know in the comments down below. Be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you next time on King Trending.
A simple reminder on how to enter our brand new giveaway. We will be giving away either an iPhone X Max, the new iPad mini, or a MacBook Pro. It's really your choice. So be sure to leave a like, comment the keyword, subscribe, and turn on notifications to enter the giveaway. It's really that simple. Go for it.